Coco Leader Am, and there we go. We hear the sheep. Let's dive into this. This is going to be game number 1 of Vortix versus Kasva here on RedBull Wololo Legacy on EGCTV.
Starting off, we have Vortix in the blue playing as the English here on 4 Lakes. And who do we have in the yellow on the other side of the map, Fitzbro?
We have got IW Kasva. That was a pretty good one. What is IW? I actually don't know what his clan tag stands for. Do you know?
I think that's Istanbul Wolves, I believe.
Istanbul Wolves. It would make sense as he has that wolf icon. Some of these players, like I look at their clan tags all the time, but I just never think about them. But yeah, I guess we should have known here for the tournament. But there we go. We got a dock being dropped for Kasva down in the southern side. Vortix has also dropped a dock, so 2 docks out of the map. Kind of expected stuff, and yeah, we'll have to see if they go for both sides and if there's any sneaky dock action here in the near future.
That immediately there to correct us. IW stands for Istanbul Wildcats, so my apologies there. It's not the Istanbul Wolves, even though Kasva does have the wolf as his mascot here. It's going to be Istanbul Wildcats that Kasva is here representing today.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, so Vortix and Kasva, I expect this to be a close series, just looking at the seeds of these guys. They are close-ish. I mean, Kasva, he didn't qualify for Red Bull until the very end, and he did it by the point system, if I recall, and that's how he got in, and that was a very unique way. Essentially, as these qualifiers were going on for months and months and months, you get points for every win, and at the very last weekly, they said, here's the cutoff, and you could, they took 2 players who had the highest amount of points, so even though he didn't win one of those monthlies, he was able to qualify with his points, but with that, you know, he wasn't able to get through the finish line of a lot of those tournaments. Let's see how Castle's preparation looks here today as he faces Vortix.
Yeah, he got really far in every single one of those weeklies, though, and that's the reason why he had just so many points. Like there was quite the distance here, and it's really incredible to have him here as well. Like it's very deserved, very much deserved. Every single game or every single series in the Road to Wololo, he just got so deep into every single one of these games. I mean, it would have been just shocking if he wasn't able to make it here.
Yeah, I knew he was going to... I knew it. I was like, he's going to eventually get through, and we see him do it. The points was very cool. So we'll see how he performs here today. Of course, you never know. When you get to these main events, you might have your favorite players. I mean, there was another series. I mean, spoiler alert, but I think we're going to know all of them as we go on here today. But I think Marine Lord did not win his series at the beginning of the day, and he was heavily favored. Actually, if any of you guys did there was predictions on Reddit. If you've gone to AOE4 Reddit, you can put in predictions for all these games. I thought Marine was going to 2-0 that series, and he got eliminated. So it's anybody's game, any given game, and these players have been practicing kind of in the darkness a little bit since they've been mostly off ladder for the last month.
Yeah, I mean, in the recent couple of days, they have been able to play against each other, like in Heidelberg, like they're all sitting next to each other or in front of each other, and they're just practicing with each other those games. I think a lot of the players actually just get most of their practice in then and there, just being able to play with all of these players all the time. Just because previously there's been like this issue with the players just not really, because of scheduling and time-wise, just not always finding players to play with, and just having them all there at the same time in the same place really opened them up to just have some really great practice sessions there.
A very interesting stat coming in from Luskiner in Twitch chat says Liquipedia shows that Kasva lost all 3 of his matches listed against Vortix. So that's a little history for you. Is that going to be repeated here?
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting to see then if he's going to be able to really change that statistic up a little bit. And we see Kasva already just placing a couple of wall segments here and there, just making sure that his opponent has no room there in order to drop a sneak dog. And it looks like Vortix is already thinking about it, as there is a villager. No, never mind. He's just walling up the other pond, or the other lake rather, that he's docked so far. So just making sure that the opponent isn't going to be able to drop a dock on their lakes.
Yep. So as you typically see a lot of this walling going on here. You see a lot of counter docks. You got 2 docks, just get line of sights. You see, it looks like on the south side, Kasva has put like small wall segments, at least according to that mini map. I see just those little dots there. just to get line of sight on what's going on. And he is aging up with the council hall. That's what you typically expect here out of the English. Kasva with the Aachen Chapel. Yeah, he did. Look at those. Just one wall segments.
Yeah, I mean, you get a good coverage with that. It's a little bit more micro-intensive, and we see Vortix, he chose to like do these larger strips of walls just in order to block any docks going up there. You can always test if you're able to place a dock yourself, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe I need another segment of wall there in order to block that off. So far, none of these players have opted to go for a dock on their opponent's lake. At the same time, though, Kasva, he hasn't even docked on the lake that's opposite of his base, so he is not going to be able to produce as many fishing ships as his opponent right now.
Yep. And I like you see he put his Aachen Chapel right up against the wood. It's just a few patches ago, this became a resource drop-off point. So he's able to save himself a lumber camp there and use that. He's also getting the advantage of that inspiration from the Aachen Chapel on his stone. I'm assuming he's going for a second town center. And a nice little, I mean, Nature Eco is so good because of this inspiration.
Yeah, going for a second town center now on a water map, though, that's not something that we usually see. And at the same time, Vortix, he's now prepping a couple of longbowmen. I mean, he's already on the right resource for that. He's on wood heavily for his fishing ship economy. At the same time, he's also on food due to these fishing ships. So longbowman is just the perfect unit here just to harass his opponent a little bit.
Yep, and yeah, those longbows coming down across the map. Let's see if he's able to get any value with those. His wall segment's going up. Oh, look at it. He's just tapping them once just to get a little bit of as they get walked through. So Kasva's been on top of his walling here.
Yeah, it makes the unit's path the other way around. So as soon as you get that wall, just even just a little pet. Oh, I think we might have a chop off here. I think he's just going to chop through there.
Oh yeah, he brings his villager through, so you can chop through the corner. That's exactly what he's doing. There's Vortix. Choppity chop chop. There he goes, taking that down. Kasva sees it though. Very smart. But will he lose a villager to the longbow?
Villager, it's just a sliver of HP. Oh, villager, no, it's stuck. It's stuck. He's gonna lose at least one there from the looks of it.
And he's just gonna chop again. This is so cheeky. Oh,
he killed the villager. Vortix is going to have to set another villager now if he wants to get through. Does lose another villager though, sadly. But now he has 2 town centers. He's going to be able to replenish his villager economy very, very quickly here.
Yeah, so it looks like 2 vill kills and then 1 vill kill, at least according to that bottom left there. So, yeah, chop around the wall. Right? Go through the walls, but you can go around them. A great strategy. I've been always thinking about, like, okay, how can they make this harder to do? Because it does feel a little weird. You construct this wall and you can just instantly go around it. But, I don't know. It's definitely strange. But here we go. Vortix flanking down the south. Honestly, Kasva went super greedy. He went 2 TC and didn't have any military to show for it. And here come these longbows harassing his stuff. He could even start hitting some fishing ships.
Yeah, Kasva is going to need a galley ship here if he wants to defend that. Yeah, I think one goes down. Yeah, one of the fishing ships does indeed go down here. So it's going to have to go to one of the further away deep sea fish here. But now, Vortix can just camp this. First galley is coming out though, but it's going to be a little while at least until that first galley is going to make it out of that dock.
What else I like is Vortix is applying this pressure. And look at his bank right now. He is aging up right now. So while Kasva is kind of has to invest in some defenses, spend resources, loses a villager or 2. Now Vortix is going up to the next age and is going to be bringing some heavy pressure. I wonder, oh, there we go. We got a galley out there, but he was able to get a fishing ship or 2. We can look at those worker kills, actually. He's got a total of 5.
Now we see the galley. It's doing some AoE damage here. However, with the units while they're moving, you actually can't really make full use of it. And we can see that there's not that much damage going over to those longbows. But actually, pathing mistake here, potentially. Scout going down.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, this looks like a misclick because he's taking lots of damage from that tower and the town centers. I feel like he's prepping something back at home ready for this age up because that is a lot of longbows to lose. We'll see if this was shift clicked. No, it looks like maybe it was on purpose. Maybe he calculated that he wanted to lose those to go harass on the other side. Maybe he determined it worth that, but he did lose a few units.
Actually worth it. It's worth it because Kasva, he needs 18 more gold in order to go up, and that is now denied with those longbows there. Kasva is not able to click up right now. Okay, now he is, and he's going for the Bergwith Palace. That is exactly what he needs right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because his opponent is prepping multiple barracks now, and it's likely going to be a man-at-arms timing push here. And the HRE, they just have the better men-at-arms, so
Yeah.
this could be the perfect response here for Kasva.
And for all you AOE2 fans that are here supporting Kasva, just to tell you about that landmark, that Burgrave Palace right there, it is a landmark that's essentially military. It allows him to, like, insanely quickly train infantry. So he can spam out some man-arms very quickly. The other option would have been the Regis Cathedral, which was the economic one. It helps boost that relic gather rate when he gets those. But there you go. You're going to see this. He's going to start printing out some man-arms most likely.
Yeah, it actually has 400% increased production speed. Wait, was that shot through by a villager? Did Vortix send another villager, or is that just not fully won?
Kasva chop. I don't. It looks like it just didn't get finished.
I think Vortix chopped through. I think
Chop.
Vortix might chop through, because usually, like, you see an extra little graphic there when you connect it to the wood line, and I mean, you would usually recognize that.
Yeah. Okay, blacksmith going down. And I'm trying to see, is Kasva spamming out units? It doesn't really seem like he has been. Doesn't have a lot of gold.
Yeah, it's just the gold right now that's holding his production back. He's getting it a little bit more right now, and now we see him immediately queuing up a couple more men-at-arms.
Yeah.
Men-at-arms, meanwhile, in the back, they're just finishing off all of those longbowmen that got in. Yeah, all the longbows have now been dealt with, and immediately we see upgrades for those men-at-arms are now coming in as Vortix is trying to push into the base here of Kasva, but Kasva has the right unit as a response ready immediately.
Yeah, now, English man-arms, also very good. Of course, the HRE known for their infantry. They can get those military drills to run, I think it's the name of it, where they run faster. But the English, they get the chat at arms. They get some nice armor upgrades back there. Oh, the Wololo coming in. You got to have a Wololo at RedBull Wololo. This is our first one of the day. Of course, in AOE4, that's an area conversion, but Vortix, quick on the draw, dodges that. It's always good to have those relics when the enemy's just got melee.
Right now, something that Kasva is missing is he doesn't have the maces upgrade for his men-at-arms, just missing a little bit of more gold. And because he's missing that, these enemy English men-at-arms are actually taking really, really good trades here. The maces upgrade, what that does for the HRE men-at-arms is it makes them do +6 bonus damage to heavily armored units. So they do another +6 extra damage to those enemy men-at-arms. It's a really important upgrade to get in these kind of battles here. And now we see that both players are currently going for the relics, as well as both Vortix and Kasva have a monk or prelate going to those relics that are out on the map.
Yep, we see English man-at-arms still flooding around the base of Kasva. Flanking around the backside. He did put a relic inside that tower, which will buff it up. Those relics actually, when garrison, buff basically all of the stats of that thing. It's really, really good.
Yeah, extra line of sight, extra range, extra damage, extra defense as well. It's just towers on steroids, basically. Those things there, you can't joke around with them. They do a good amount of damage here, and as we can see, the man-at-arm actually lives with 2 HP.
Oh my gosh.
Against the 2 opponents' man-at-arms.
Yeah, now as far as the pawns are considered, it looks like both players have not got any boats onto the enemy leg, right? That we kind of saw that in the last game. They've been saying, I got my 2 legs, you got your 2 legs, and that's kind of been the game. There's been more of a land fighting going on.
It's a bit of a gentleman's agreement here between those 2 players, not going for the opponent's legs. And now we see crossbowmen coming out for Vortix. Kasva at the same time also making some Landsknechte. So Landsknechte, a good answer to the crossbows if they're able to survive and get some connections in.
Now, hold on a second. I'm so glad I have you in the casting booth. You're the right person to say that. Can you say that one unit for me one more time?
The name is Landsknechte.
Landsknechte. Did I get it?
Close enough.
He's like, no, you stupid American.
Oh, 2 relics now going over the way of Vortix. Another relic is on its way into Kasva's base at the same time. And now it looks like it's Kasva's time to put some pressure on his opponent. Also getting some economy upgrades right now for his fishing ships. So he got the extended lines upgrade for his fishing ships. So they're going to be a little bit more efficient now when it comes to the food gathering. And it looks like we got a little bit of a reversal now when it comes to the base rates.
Yep, and no knights. This has all been infantry. This has been a ground war with using their feet and their men's at arms. And right now we've got a little bit of an open field action there with the fight. Looks like English farms have been idled for a little bit here.
This is weird. At the same time, there's still no maces upgrade for these men-at-arms, and that's why they just can't take as good of trades as they are supposed to. Usually in this matchup, it's a little bit weird here that Kasva has not researched that. It might just be a little bit of a loss of focus there to not go for those upgrades. It's really important, especially in these compositions. Might actually get a monk kill there though, at least. Yeah, the heavy mace is still not being researched. He has the resource for it, or at least he had them for most of the time here so far. Instead goes into queuing a couple more units up. Crossbows are able to take good trades here against the men-at-arms.
Yeah, of course, those crossbows are going to be... They are specialists for taking out armored units, so they're very good when they those man-at-arms. But Vortix better get on the run because Kasva is chasing after him. I'm assuming he has his speed, at least, and should be able to catch up to him.
Yeah, he did grab the speed, the marching drills, I believe it was. So. Yeah, upgrade from the blacksmith. So, I mean, there's one with a similar name for the deli, but I think it's marching drills. Yeah, I mean, we can't see it anymore, but that's the upgrade for the Acher. Increase the movement speed of all of their infantry.
I don't always know the name of the upgrade, but I know the sound it makes when it takes the life of my enemy.
Oh, what's that? Oh, there's going to be a keep on the gold of Kasva. Kasva, he almost has the amount of stone that he needs to drop a keep of his own.
Yep, and keeps they take longer to build this patch. Just a little. How many more seconds longer was it? Was it like 60 seconds or what did they add? I can't remember. 90?
30. 30 seconds on top. So I think TCs went from like 2 minutes to 150 seconds, and I think went to like 3 minutes.
Yeah, so there we go. He's dropping that keep. We'll see that time will take place. It'll take a little bit longer. He's kiting back with crossbows, though, and this is an only man-at-arms composition, so this crossbow's pretty effective, but looks like the villager's going to pull back. I don't think he's going to... depends how far he kites back. Kasva also bringing his villagers forward. So the keep has been abandoned. We got Kasva marching across through the desert towards Vortix's base. But Vortix is just kiting. He's using these crossbows to pick off those infantry. But there we go. Some Lenschnechter getting to the front line and getting some swings in. They're pretty powerful if they can get within range.
Yeah, you gotta be incredibly careful there with your villagers. If there are a couple of Landsknechts just get a couple of hits and suddenly your entire villager line is dead. At the same time, Kasva, still without the heavy maces upgrade, he's just wasting away all of his men-at-arms here, and they just fell in the crossbowmen at the same time. They're taking some really, really good fights here, just kiting back and back and back and shooting every single time a volley goes up. And I think Vortix, he just repositioned his keep up, and now it's an even better... Both of the golds here. I'm not sure if Kasva has noticed this yet, but this is absolutely dangerous. At the same time, keep goes up for Kasva in the base of Vortix. Could also get some gold axes here, but it's just difficult right now because now the gold axes for Kasva in his own base is going to be under contest here from Vortix.
Now, when we look at those overview statistics in the bottom left, is that destroyed military value or how much you've invested in the military?
It's as well destroyed as well as buildings. So it's just it's buildings as well as units. Just everything. Everything adds into that destruction value.
Okay, so I was just wondering that because I think he lost a lot of man-arms there in that previous fight.
We see the villagers. They're also not as fast as they could be. As Wheelbarrow is currently being researched, it's not come in yet, and this is difficult now. The villagers, they're on their way back, but if we look at the worker kills in the bottom left, there's 43 kills for Vortix on the workers of Kasva, and only 3 villagers that Kasva has killed from Vortix. And those villagers, they're gonna have to make a gate here in order to get through. Oh, he just deletes it instead. That might have been a mistake here. Gate. It might have been a mistake though, as he's letting the abandoned me get into the back of his base. He has an outpost there, but okay, it looks like Vortix decides not to push further there.
Right now, looking at the economy, we see 79 workers for Kasva, 92 for Vortix. You can see some of those resources per minute across the top. They're both not a ton in the bank. Vortix has a little more bank to spare. Military count, Vortix has more units out on the field. And we got a Wololo coming on in, boxing out those man-arms.
Yeah, able to deter the enemy's units here. But at the same time, finally, we've gotten the heavy maces upgrade as well as the two-handed upgrade for the men-at-arms coming in for the HRE player for Kasva here. So only now will the men-at-arms for Kasva be able to trade well against the men-at-arms from the English player.
Does he still not have the mace upgrade?
They do now. They do both the two-handed as well as the heavy maces. Yeah. Really, really important upgrade to get. Now we see some horsemen coming in as well, probably just to deal with the enemy crossbowmen. Palace of Swabia coming in as well, so Age up here for Kasva.
I mean, this will help him print some villagers. It'll give him some momentum if he can get this thing off. Those army numbers are pretty similar right now. I know those trebuchets are taking out his keep across the field. Unfortunately, he's not able to emergency repair them. Wait, did he build houses across the middle or anything like that? I don't think he was able to emergency repair it.
Yeah, he does have a couple of structures every now and then, but it's no direct line, so he's not going to be able to emergency repair it until he actually builds all of these houses.
Yeah. Did they make it a rule that they all have to be built so you can't just do foundations anymore? I wasn't sure what they did for the tournament.
All of the buildings have to be built. They have to be fully built. You can't just place the blueprints anymore and just repair like that.
Yep, okay, so Vortix doing some damage with that keep he's placed in the base of Kasva. Kasva, it looks like he has some trebuchet. Oh, no, I'm sorry, he does not have any trebuchets. I was looking at the wrong side. But Vortix has a bunch of trebuchets, currently taking down Kasva's keeps.
Pretty big army disparity at the moment as well. 67 military for Vortix and only 34 for Kasva. He does now have the villager printer, so he's able to produce a lot of villagers, but at the moment, Kasva just isn't able to take any fights here right now.
Yeah. And, down goes the keep. It's barely hanging on. He's repairing it. Down it goes. Now, to be clear, at the top, that is military population. So that's not 6 trebuchets, because that would be absolutely crazy. He's got 3 trebuchets. Each of them have 2 pop.
And the crossbowmen are pushing in further, getting Kasva off the wood at the moment, from the looks of it. And it's tough, because the army just has to keep running. Also, there are no elite upgrades currently on their way for Kasva. So there's no prospect right now of him pushing this one back anytime soon. And now the outpost is actually getting torched down really, really rapidly. Emergency repair is coming in. And is able to, he's able to hold out as he's deleting all of his walls. He really wants to take this one fight. Now, there are a couple of Landsknechte in there. You just need to get some connections, but it's just enough of military. And it's really tough right now for Kasva to take any of these fights. The cannon placement also still not in yet in that outpost. It just takes so long to get that in. I think it's like an entire minute that it takes for that emplacement to come in. And a minute right now, it just feels like an eternity. It just takes so long for that to come in. Doesn't have emergency repair right now. So when that emplacement comes in, I think Vortix, he could just decide to take down the outpost. And now the crossbowmen, they're taking down the lives of even more men-at-arms. And it's looking rough. It's looking really, really rough.
Well,
once again,
military count is double right now for Vortix.
Double is better than what it was earlier, but yeah, it's just looking bad right now. Every time those crossbowmen fire, a man-at-arm goes down. They one-shot it with that amount of that they have, and now the trebuchets, they're in the base as well. They're taking down a lot of the buildings, and with the infrastructure gun as well, it's just looking rough. And now Vortix is in the Imperial Age as well. English in the Imperial Age just spells danger.
Yep, so we got Trebs within line of sight. I don't think Kasva's going to be able to squeeze his way back out of this one. He still has all his villagers, but the military number is just a bit too low right now. Also looking at the bank, you can see Vortix has got plenty to spare. He can bake essentially whatever he wants. Like, sure, he might get a Treb or 2 here, but in the long run, Vortix is just really pushing the military pressure.
Current population 180 for Vortix compared to around 125 for Kasva. I mean, even with the villager printer right now, Vortix is still having the economy lead as well. There's 114 villagers compared to 103, and a lot of idle time at the same time for Kasva as he tries to get a keep up in his own base. But Vortix, he already has the trebuchets in order to deal with that. But it looks like at one point Kasva did manage to take one of the trebuchets down. There's only 2 remaining, not 3 anymore.
Yep, and I really wonder how much of a difference if he had got these maces earlier, if that would have swung some of those fights that seem to go in Vortix's favor.
I think so, especially because the men-at-arms, they were always just like the meat shield for the crossbowmen. If you're able to get through that meat shield much, much quicker, I think it could have made a big difference there in those earlier fights. Now we see Kasva, though, he wants to make this a little bit more messy. He's got a lot of stone in the bank. He wants to drop another keep. His gold gets found on the top side there, but he's pressing in. He's pressing into the space of Vortix with a lot of villagers now, trying to get a keep drop up on the farming economy, I believe.
Look at all those farms. Keep is going up. I think he's gonna. You can really feel it does take a little bit longer.
Yeah, but with all the villagers there, it's just a matter of time until that keep goes up. Still no response military-wise, though, but, I mean, he's holding on for now. He's holding on for now. He's not going to quit out of this game quite yet. At the same time, though, as I say, that trebuchet is already in the base for Vortix, able to trap that keep down, and it just takes so long for that keep in order to punch through those men-at-arms with the armor-clad upgrade.
Yeah, I don't
Gives him an opportunity, though, to potentially take down some traps that were sieging him down in space, though.
Yep, he's kind of distracted him a little bit, brought him back. Of course, he can print villagers out, right, with that landmark. Don't forget about that. HRE has tremendous comeback potential, but there's also all this water gathering still going on. No one has built any naval military.
Yeah, it looks like finally Kasva is getting a good amount of villager kills. Oh my god, I just noticed the villager kills. Look at the villager kills in the bottom left side. 105 villagers that have went down in this game for Kasva.
Wow.
Compared to the 14 for Vortix. This just looks rough. And now the keep does go down in the base of Vortix. He's completely stabilized. He's in control here. He's got the military advantage, the siege advantage, probably the tech advantage soon as well, as he does get the gold from the farms as well. So he's got a steady gold income right now as well. But Kasva, he's just holding on. He's trying to attack his opponent from all sides, just distract him here, and he's gonna poke him there. And maybe, I mean, we've seen it before from Kasva, where he's in like these situations where it looks like he's dead, and then he's still able to come back and just annoy his enemy from all sides and just overwhelm them like that.
Yeah, he's dropped that keep there to mess with the economy. We got some crossbows here, taking out all of Kasva's infantry, and now we got all these upgrades in full force. So those English farms, they're with the enclosures, they're gathering gold from them. So he's got a safe source of gold. We do see Kasva throwing down some farms of his own. Unfortunately, he's got some buildings around his Aachen Chapel, which is kind of going to limit some of the potential of his farms. He is stripping some of the gold off the northern side of the map. Villager count, I mean, there is a difference. It's not massive right now. But Kasva's army number, he just needs to be able to, like, I feel like if he could take a good fight and maybe like win one big fight, he could start to maybe get some momentum back in the other way.
Sure, though, I don't even think that Kasva has made a siege workshop so far in this game, and without any siege, you're not going to be able to break past these castles. Granted, the boiling oil actually hasn't come in yet for Vortix, so these keeps, they don't do as much damage as they potentially could, but still, you ideally want to have some siege in order to break through those.
Yeah, absolutely. So Vortix pushing up. He's got his trebuchets to boot, and the siege of Kasva's base is underway.
In the keep, though, he does have a relic in there, so that keep is going to be extra tanky, able to sustain a couple more shots from the trebuchets. Also in range of the emergency repair, so he's going to be able to keep that one alive for quite a while.
Yep, absolutely. And right now we see a lot of Kasva units just waiting on the northwest side of his base. I think he's going to charge in here in just a moment. I still thought that might be it, but he's waiting for when the time is right. Maybe it'll be when that keep goes down. Maybe he'll repair it. I guess he will have emergency repair still.
Yeah, it's still on the table right now. Probably going for it right in front of. Yeah, there it is.
Well, that's a lot of trebs. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough with all that siege. There we go. His army's charging forward. This could be a crucial fight for Kasva, as the numbers are in Vortix's favor.
Just as he's charging in, he's in range of the network, and suddenly all of those longbowmen, all of the trebuchets as well. The trebuchets also get the bonus attack speed right now, and this is going to be very tough here. Lots of longbowmen in the mix as well, able to take down all of the Landsknechte really, really quickly. And yeah, this is just looking rough. I believe the castle is going down now as well, just with the attack speed from the trebuchets. It's so strong. Yeah, there is. Castle has gone down. The attack speed from the trebuchets just proving to be too much here. And the army for Kasva, it's just going down. And at the same time, Vortix, he's still on 200 population, just reducing non-stop all of the units. Insane economy right now for Vortix, and Kasva, he's just not going to be able here to keep up with that.
I feel like a mangonel could have gone a long way here, as this has like been purely crossbows and archers here for a bit. I know there were man-at-arms earlier, but there we go. They're reaching the farms, and now the farmers are under attack. We see the landmark getting hit. And by the way, one of the victory conditions for AOE4, if you have not watched before, is if you remove all of the players' landmarks, they lose. So you get 4 landmarks, 1 per age, unless you're China. And you can see a landmark currently going down right there. So if he gets all of those down, that would end the game if he doesn't forfeit for them.
Forward outpost now coming in for the network of citadels, just to extend that a little bit further. I mean, Kasva, he's just trickling an army right now. It's just fueling the meat grinder. Just running more and more units into the meat grinder here at this point. Production queue for Vortix looking pretty juicy right now, as he has a lot of military in production at the moment. And Kasva, he realizes he's not going to be able to come back from this, and he's going to call the GG right here.
Game number 1 going in favor of Vortix. Kasva will need to get some points on the board because this is only a best of 3. So he's got to win this next one. But English on 4 lakes, not something I see every day, but he was able to get the job done with that. The whole game, nobody ever put a dock on the enemy's lake. So they stayed on their own and fished, and they just fought this out on land.
I think this was a really close game. I think something that could have made it quite a bit better for Kasva. I mean, we talked about it earlier, just not having the heavy mazes upgrade in time. There was a time in Castle Age where both players were just flooding the map with men-at-arms. If only Kasva had the heavy mazes upgrade then, he could have traded way better against those men-at-arms. Would have definitely made a difference here, as we can see that the military numbers, it just went up evenly for both players instead of going down rapidly for one of them.
Yeah, I really wondered about how much of a difference those maces could have made. But I don't know if Kasva originally wanted to go for that Burgrave Palace going into this game. I mean, ideally, in a long, drawn-out fight, you probably want to have that Magnus Cathedral for all those relics. And Vortix, he scouted that landmark. He knew what was there, and he went for all of the range because he knew it was going to be man-at-arms chasing after him, and he can just kite. So that worked out well for him. And we'll go to game number 2, which will go to one of Kasva's home maps, Dry Arabia. Let's see what civ he will pick.
Okay, I'm gonna guess here that it's going to be either French or Chinese for Vortix, and then very likely Ottomans for Kasva.
I think I would agree with that. I think that's very likely. I could also maybe see Delhi, perhaps, if he's just not feeling confident enough with those Ottomans. But yeah, I think probably Ottomans here on Dry Arabia. But who knows, could be Mongols too. I don't know.
I think Ottomans are very likely Kasva's favorite civs at the moment. So I've seen him play Ottomans quite frequently. I would personally think that he would probably pick Ottomans over Mongols here on Dry Arabia, especially since you can use Mongols in the 3rd game on Boulder Bay. I think they're probably going to do a way better job than any of the other civs on a water map.
Yeah, I think that'll be it. So I think we'll probably see Ottomans on the right side, on the left. Either China or, I mean, any of these picks could be good. I wanted to pick Malians. I want Malians versus Ottoman, but I'm not anticipating that we'll see it. Let's see. As they draft, they have to walk over to the board and get out that little leather notebook and pick out their civ and go put it on the Christmas tree. It's like, you guys have seen it.
Yeah, I mean, this I'm not sure if they do it the exact same way in Age of Empires 4. Sadly, just don't have the time to watch both streams and cast the other one at the same time. But I imagine they probably have a really cool setup for Age of Empires 4 with the civ picking as well.
Yeah,
the same way they did for Age of Empires 2.
Yep, I would imagine so. And if you guys are tuning in here or have been switching between the Red Bull stream or EGCTV, we have essentially half of the games for the day. So the players you're seeing here on this channel, you're not going to see them on the other channel. They've kind of split them up because there's just so many games to be casted and so many players. I like that there is a large player pool that had access to this, and we're going to see as it drills down towards the weekend who ends up going to these finals. But we've just got tons of games, and we opened the day with Beastie Cutie in game number 1. We had game number 2. We had Viper. I mean, it's just been some massive players here, so it's been fun. And Kasva, he needs to get some points on the board, but even if he is eliminated in this game, there's 2 other brackets they go to, so this wouldn't be the end.
Yeah, we're still in the group stage right now, so there's still a chance, even if you lose here, there's still a chance to come back and make it to the finals. So if you lose here, you're not out quite yet. But now we have the civilizations that we can take a look at. So we see that Vortix, he has opted for the French on Dry Arabia. Makes sense, a really aggressive map and a really aggressive civ for that. So perfect pick there, French for Vortix. And Kasva, as predicted, he's going for the Ottomans.
Yep. So the Ottomans versus the French. Okay. The French, if you think about when Age of Empires 4 first came out a year ago, everyone was playing French. They were making their knights. They were just a menace on the ladder. Over time, as spearmen actually got abilities to brace and etc., they were been people have been a little better against them. But then we got the Ottomans. They could make spearmen right off the start, right? We've seen some people do that Dark Age military school business. He could perhaps do that dry Arabia. We think about this last series we had. That gold is not going to be under the town center. If Kasva opens up with that military school, sends a spearman over, he can start harassing the gold line of the French, which is going to slow down any knight production.
Yeah, I think this is going to be exactly what we're going to be seeing. Just those Dark Age spears harassing the gold and making sure that the French player isn't going to be able to get any knights out early on, is going to have to invest immediately into archers. And ideally, as the French player, you want to get value immediately. Just immediately there. And it's kind of against what the French usually like to do. So I think Ottomans here is honestly just the perfect counter-civilization.
So I see people asking how the civ picking works. So they do a draft of civilizations, and they also get to do a global ban. So you see on the left side, there's a cross through the Rus. Well, that means nobody can play Rus. On the right side, we got Abbasids been banned, meaning no one can play Abbasids. So they draft the civs that they want to play, and then they pick the civs for each of these matches. So they don't get to counter pick. They both pick their civs. They don't get to see like, oh, he picked French, now I'm picking Ottomans. It's so they both pick at the same time, and it's blind revealed. But it sounds like we've got game number 2, so let's dive into this. Game number 2, Vortix versus Kasva. It could be match point if Vortix does something here on the RedBull Wololo Legacy match. This is the opening day, and this should be a good one. Let's see if Kasva can get some points on the board.
Perfect, and here we go. We see,
here we have
the score is
reversed
Kasva.
right now. When I see the score at the top, it's definitely reversed.
True, it does look reversed, but I guess it's just because of the lobby screen. But yeah, we have Kasva here playing for the Istanbul Wildcats, playing as the Ottomans. And who do we have on the blue side of the screen?
We've got Vortix playing as the French. He's a freelancer. He doesn't have any clan. He is just out here on Dry Arabia. Man with a plan. And he's also got his brother here playing today. So it is a family affair. And Vortix going for that gold. Let's keep an eye and see if Kasva harasses out with the spearman. Look at that military school already up on the board.
Yeah, perfect opener here. I mean, that's just what you really want to have in this matchup. The Dark Age Spears, they've gotten buffs everywhere in this patch, so that's just the perfect unit here. I honestly can't imagine a better matchup against the French. Just having those free spears in the Dark Age, absolutely perfect.
Yep, so Ottomans, of course, a new civilization we've talked about a little bit earlier, but they've got these military schools. They train units for free. They're slowly, but you start with an extra stone, so you can build one of these military schools, and that's what Kasva has opted for. He's got his military school producing that spearman. He's going to run across and harass that gold line of Vortix, and if he can slow him down, poke those villagers, that will help avoid knights being in his base. And there we go, that school of cavalry being dropped for Vortix right now.
Yeah, Vortix, he is lucky. He does have the gold in the back of his base. However, we said it multiple times today, and it's that in the new patch, the gold spawns, they tend to be far away from the town center. So you don't have those spawns anymore where your town center completely protects your gold from every single early aggression. So with your spears, you're able to just really, really easily harass and deny the gold early on for the French, and that's important. That's really important.
Yep, and just to reiterate for the fans, the score. Well, there we go. They fixed it. Nothing to see here. Vortix 1, Kasva 0. It was reversed, so I was going to make sure everybody was on the same page. There we go. Our production team doing great work behind the scenes. And Kasva getting some more stone. Now, that could be for additional military schools, or it could be for a town center expansion. We'll have to wait and see.
I think very likely going to be for a second TC behind the additional, military school, very likely. I mean, getting those 2 military schools out early is really, really useful. Now we have the spears almost there. Took them a little while to be made and then go all the way across the map. So now we're going to have the first bit of aggression here on the gold mine of Vortix.
You know what's funny is I think I remember in like the early days of the pup, Kasva was someone who was playing Ottomans, and he was just like straight up ignoring the military schools. He wasn't even building them. And here he is embracing them right out of the get-go. And there we go. That spearman harassing that gold line like we predicted. Now, Vortix, the knights are expensive. They take up a lot of gold, so this is going to slow him down. Not to mention, he doesn't have wheelbarrow yet. Well, he's already got wheelbarrow in tech. I almost wonder, well, it's so cheap. I was like, sometimes I think, like, do you just cancel it? And so you have some gold to tie you over till you can get back out there and get wheelbarrow?
Yeah, for the French, all the economy tags are discounted, so it's just really, really cheap for them to get. I think wheelbarrow only costs 100 gold, or maybe like 105 gold total. So it's really cheap in comparison when you compare it to the wheelbarrow for other civilizations. And what's really impressive here, Ottomans, even though they went for that early military school, they are still able to go up to the next stage at a fairly competitive timing. And here we go, we see Vortix now dropping his archery range, so he's going to be going for the standard, the French build order, well, not build order, but like army composition of archers and knights. This is probably just the patented French army composition here, just archers and knights.
And let's see where they end up poking here in the Ottoman base. Now, he went up with the Twin Madras, which is going to, of course, have those nice, safe berries he can eat. He can just stay there close to his town center, and those will keep spawning berries. It's a infinite food source. So it's a nice little way to help your food early on. That seems to be the popular Ottoman landmark. I've seen most people, I think all the games so far, that's what they've been using. Second military school, and trying to move out of the way. Good job. He dodges that first little knight push there. He'll need to get some spearmen out there to defend.
Yeah, immediate reaction. Really, really well played here. Now we see Vortix also going over to stone, thinking about a second TC of his own. And now we have knights and archers out on the map for Vortix. 1 knight, 3 archers. Wasn't able to make any more knights so far, as he did get pushed off of gold. So, I mean, this is where it comes into play, because there aren't that many knights, a couple of Sipahi could definitely wreak havoc here for the archers that Vortix has out on the map.
And he's trying to get to that second town center. It looks like he's continuing to go for that stone. So I think he's going to be working towards a 2 TC build. Vortix on the other side, look at the minimap, it does look like he's also going for stone. So he's going for a second town center as well. Sipahi, you can see 2 are trained up right now. I think that's going to be at the military school. So 2 free Sipahi. He's basically not spending any resources on his military units.
Yeah, exactly. And
maybe
it's
at that barracks.
Such a good building here. Yeah, now he's also adding a blacksmith. So something special about the blacksmith here for the Ottomans. They don't get the blacksmith technology, which increases the production speed of their production buildings. Instead, what they do is their blacksmith already has like a little influence around it, and all the production buildings, all the unit production buildings that are in that influence, they produce faster at a certain rate. So I believe it's 25% in the feudal age, and it goes up to like 40-ish% in the imperial age, and there's a landmark which actually increases that to 60% as well.
Oh, and hey, look at this. Townsend dropped to the forward. Let's see if the Sipahi come over here. This will take longer to build than it did before. But he's got plenty of villagers on it. But we'll see how quickly maybe he can lead them away. But the Sipahi are running. That's a scout, I guess, and Sipahi.
Yeah, Sipahi and a scout there on the map, but Knight, as you said, he's luring them a little bit to the left side, so I think that town center is going to go up. Kasva, at the same time, he has not been able to get enough stone yet for his second TC. Working on it though right now. I think it's only going to be a matter of like the next 20 seconds until he's going to be able to place his second TC.
Those knights are going to have they're going to be slower than the Sipahi, so he can just keep continuing to run around. But the scout is actually, since it's paired up, slowing down the Sipahi, which is how he was able to get that charge.
Yeah, so the scout is not as fast as the Sipahi, but because they're both in the same formation, they're actually slowing down to the movement speed of the slowest unit in that formation.
Yep. I learned that apparently like who you have your mentor paired up with in formations actually impacts some of those buffs. They have to like actually be in the same formation, not just like nearby.
Yeah, it's a little bit buggy at the moment, actually. Even when they're in the same formation, sometimes it just doesn't apply downright, which is usually why most people just ignore that Vizier upgrade. It's usually you only get it when you want to do like a timing push and you don't have the time to produce a meta right at that moment. Actually, Sipahi goes down there to the town center fire, so I think that's probably like one of the first units that died this game, aside from a couple of spears so far. But I mean that's still, it doesn't hurt as much because all of these units are free.
Yep, absolutely. And villager count right now, 35 for Vortix, 31 for Kasva. But Kasva does have his second TC going up. But French are going to train their villagers just a little bit faster. It's a civ bonus for them as they go through the ages. They have faster villager training speeds. And kind of a quiet game so far. There was those night raids. We say that as there's a little poke there on the north side.
Immediately,
but
it
looks like
Ami is
Kasva
at the
stopped
right space. Yeah, and now we see walls coming up here for Kasva. He has this really, really nice amount of resource in the back of a space, just like 3 gold mines in the back of a space. And with those 2 walls, he's got both of them safe. So this is a really, really good map spawn here for him. Has a second TC there on the deer as well. Yep, Sipahi gonna catch up.
You see that speed difference, and there you go. That knight dies, which is... It's a big night. It's a big loss for the French. You never want to lose any of those knights because they're so expensive, and you can typically heal them up with that chivalry upgrade. But there we go. Kasva going to be walling in, and he's got. Not only does it have these deer, you got to remember he's already has those infinite food sources, those berries back at home. So that's going to help him chew through his food sources. Even look how many sheep he has, by the way. It's a lot of sheep.
Yeah, it must have been that Anatolian hills. PC point spend gives you 8 sheep, so that's quite a lot. At the same time, now he's added some archery range as well, also getting some meta out. Looks like he's probably making them from his military school, so getting some free metas in. Those do provide an AoE buff for all of his units. You can choose between faster attack speed, extra melee armor, or extra pierce armor, so some really, really important buffs there to grab with the meta.
Yeah. I don't know if I feel like what we're seeing so far, like Kasva looks extremely confident with Ottomans. He hasn't not missed a beat yet. I don't think he's lost a villager to any of these French raids, which can be a hard feat sometimes. And he's got his Sipahi, Spearman. Looks like he's adding in this metric to the composition. Just looking like he's in control. But Vortix now has his economy up and rolling. He's coming across the map, and look at this. Army numbers are even, 20 to 20, but one side's got some knights.
Yeah, and we can see it when we look at the army value. We see that the total value of Kasva's units is close to like 2,000 resource, 3,000 for Vortix. That's a lot higher value, and those knights, they do their value's worth of damage.
That's why you don't want to lose them to cheap old spearmen. Okay, it looks like Vortix wants to push. He's looking hungry. He's moving out, looking to deal some damage. Maybe he could siege some military buildings outside of the town center, Ara, but those knights charging on up, looking to maybe hit the wood line of Kasva, but pulls back just before.
Yeah, they think both of these players are just currently sizing up the enemy's army, thinking, is this a fight that I can take? Is it not? But right now, it looks like Vortix, he's got the slight villager lead due to his town centers producing a little bit faster as the French has some idle time there, immediately notices though, gets them to work again. And right now the military does look heavily in favor of Vortix when we look at the army value. He just needs to find the perfect timing in order to really drive that point home. As it looks like Kasva might actually be a little bit greedy here and go for a castle age, it looks like, with the way that he's saving up his resources.
For a ram push. So Vortix bringing those rams in, and he might be able to just take out those buildings. It's going to be very hard for Kasva to push up and stop this. And yeah, this is going to be an awkward time as he's currently looking at aging up. Okay, we've got one ram poking. He's going to go for the blacksmith, so that'll stop not only the upgrade in there, but it'll also stop the bonus it's giving to all those buildings as far as train speed. So moving that knight up. Looks like he's training another ram right now. Kasva looks like he's going to be taking this fight, running the spearman forward, but the archers are right on top of the spearman. He's losing a ton of archers right now to these volleys. Good micro here by Vortix. Kasva maybe miscalculating that charge there. He needs to use his Sipahi to get up on those archers, and the knights are just boxing them out.
Yeah, at the same time, though, he really, really needed to delay the destruction of his blacksmith as he was getting the +1 pierce armor defense upgrade.
That's exactly what he was doing. Good call there.
Another blacksmith being dropped, though. These buildings, they do cost less for Kasva. They only cost 100 wood instead of 150. That's one of the bonuses of the Ottomans. But now those military schools are in attack, and these things are expensive. 250 resources for each of these military schools.
Here we go, charging in
here.
Sipahi on the front
line.
One
knight going down.
He needs to keep those alive. Like, I think that's his ticket to killing those archers. I think the archer count, we see 12 archers. Well, they both have similar archer numbers. Like, well, no, 26 and 30. I get a little confused when I go left to right with how the way the mirroring works on this overlay.
Yeah, but this looks like the fight is going heavily in favor of Vortix right now, and yeah, the army value is just shrinking further and further for Kasva at the same time. Like it's going, actually it goes up and down, up and down, up and down, but I think this is, yeah, now it's going down. Now it's going down rapidly.
Yep. So this is going to be big trouble for Kasva, and he really needs a win in this series because this is match point for him. How's he going to kill all of these knights? Looks like he's going to take this fight as closer to the town center. Maybe needs to get that town center shooting on the archers just because his knights have so much armor. Pulling out some villagers. I think he was going to try to kill a ram, but that quickly was stopped by the archers. And these knights are going to survive. I mean, he lost a few there, but look at those military numbers right now. 37 versus 8. Vortix is crushing this fight.
Yeah, and Kasva barely has any food income right now. All of the villagers that he had on those fast berries are currently inside of the town center. So he's not getting that fast food income, and he calls a GG. Vortix actually takes this one 2-0 again. That's a result that I did not expect in this set.
Yeah, that's a 2-0 out of the gate there. I thought Kasva would get some points on the board, so Kasva fans are going to be sad. You know I'm a Kasva fan. I was hoping to see him to get something there, but he'll have another chance. They move on to the upper and lower bracket, so he's not out of this yet. But as of right now, that puts Vortix one step closer to the finals.
And here we can see with the military, even though numbers were fairly equal, it's just the value with those knights just being able to soak up so much damage and do so much damage of their own. And it's so rough. When we look at that military graph, just taking a straight nosedive here for Kasva, it hurts to see. Also food-wise, just because Vortix, he had all the map control in the world, he was able to expand to all of these really, really premium food sources, the boars, the deers, etc. Just getting a lot of natural food sources in there, and we can see that it shows here, ahead in pretty much every single resource in this game.
It really seemed like a miscalculation of, he looked like he was moving towards Castle Age, like he was macroing for it, and then at that exact moment, Vortix hit him. So I wonder if he had invested more in staying in Age 2, how that might have gone. But of course, French are great in Age 2, so a tough game, but Cass will be back. But for now, Vortix will be moving on, and that brings us our next series, Wham versus Lenok. And is this the winner series? No, this is still their first series. This is from the other side. This is bonus stream for you.
Yeah, exactly. This is still one of the games from the opening round that we're going to be casting right now. So, yeah, we're going to be bringing you live Lenok against Wham. So that's also a really, really interesting matchup to see here. We got the Lenoctopus against Wham, and I mean, this could also be a really, really good match.
Yeah, absolutely. I hit the mute button there for a second. Yeah, I expect this to be a really good Wham versus Lenok. Yeah, those guys were some of the early qualifiers for this, so that's going to be a battle of some of the titans, and it should be good. Vortix going to be moving on. Did I hear somebody said that it's going to be Kasva versus Beastie in the bottom bracket? Is that true?
Let me quickly check.
I don't have my
actually,
it might up right now.
Yeah, it's going to be BCQD against
That'll be
Kasva.
a fun series to watch.
Wait, no, BCQD against Vortix in the winners round, isn't that it? I mean, Kasva is going to move over to the second chance, so it's going to be Recon against Kasva instead.
Yeah, Reese versus Kasva. That would be, he would have to go all the way through. Yeah, it would be quite a route to get there, but yeah, BC did move up, so. Okay, so that concludes Vortix versus Kasva. We're getting our another series fired up for you. They've got the admins working behind the scenes, got these guys running around the castle. You know, can you like bump into someone in the hallway in these castle and like steal their hard drive and like get their settings or whatever and then win the game?
I mean, I guess you could, but I mean, it would be. What are you gonna do with? Yeah, it would be juicy, but like, what are you gonna do with that? I have this person's hotkeys.
The old user settings switcheroo. I mean, I clearly would be Conqueror 3 if I got Beastie Cuties, settings exactly right on my PC here.
I mean, with all the YouTube videos that Beastie's making, he probably has a video where he goes, gamers all around the world, these are my hotkeys.
No, that was too fast.
Was it too fast? Sorry.
Gamers. You have to have the
all
space.
Around the world.
It's the space. It's the space.
The
Yeah,
theatrical pause there.
I should do a video where I just do impressions of all of the Twitch streamers and YouTubers and casters of their like openings or the things they do. That would be fun. That would be fun.
The Viper.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got the drawing down. The Viper.
Welcome to another custard game.
Yeah, all around the flat Earth. Yes, absolutely. Flat universe. I think it's a combination that he does there. Yeah. Well, the best part
Gotta
is
mix
seeing
it up.
like